Welcome or welcome back. My name is Carla and I am so glad to have you here with me. I live in the beautiful state of Oregon in the Mount Hood Forest, and I thought first off we would check on the garden. I'm pretty happy with the way the sunflowers have grown this year, although admittedly I do miss the zinnias so much. They just had such a wonderful bright colors and so many just different bright colors. They were just beautiful. So I think next year I'll be going back to planting those. I'm happy to see though that my hydrangea is making a comeback and my vegetable garden has really grown tremendously. I have an overabundance of little cherry tomatoes, so I have been trying to pick those every morning and get them inside in the refrigerator where they can stay nice and cold. I've found that gardening in the forest or at a higher elevation, we are around 1,500 feet, and we end up having a later than normal blooming or growing period, but that also kind of ends up rushing us into winter as well. So it's kind of tricky and I'm just really learning as I go. This year we did put in above ground gardening beds and added in new soil, and I think that's what really prompted this huge growth with the tomatoes. I feel kind of bad because I've crowded them in so much, but I'm happy that they've actually grown as well as they have. I've also planted zucchini, which of course the zucchini is just growing like crazy, and I put in some bell peppers, but I think something is eating the bell peppers. I think we've got some squirrels or something helping themselves to that, as well as the cucumbers. I did get my first Roma tomato though, so I'm pretty happy about that. And I've been able to pick 1 or 2 cucumbers. Later on this afternoon, I thought it would be a great time to do some spinning, so grab your wheel if you feel like it and join me. Hi. Excuse the mess. I was filming one of my Goodwill Bins hauls videos earlier today and decided that it was time for me to sit down, put a movie in and watch something good and do some spinning, because I've got all of this merino bamboo that I had dyed up that I want to create a sweater with it. So I am trying to spin it pretty darn thin so then I can ply it and actually do it with a 2-ply yarn. So we'll see how that goes. That's one of my bigger goals for this winter, put it that way. But anyhow, I got another part of my Ashford order in today, and it's actually of the bobbins for this wheel. So this is the Ashford Kiwi wheel, which is great. It folds up for storage. It's wonderful. I can do a review on that a little bit more in depth if that's something that anyone was interested in. Just let me know. Put it in the comments. Let me know. But I ordered in 2 more bobbins. When you order the Kiwi, if you purchase it new, it comes with 3 bobbins. If you purchase it used, which is great also, you might look out and the person that's selling it to you may have more bobbins, so that would be wonderful. But otherwise, I only had the 3, so I needed some extras, and it's just nice to have some extras on hand, because if you're going to do a 2-ply, the 3 will work, because you'll spin, 4 ounces on each one and then ply it all together on the 3rd bobbin. And then rinse and repeat and keep going. But sometimes I get a little bored and I want to switch it up and start spinning something different, start a different project, because I can get sidetracked super duper easy. And so anyhow, I got the 2, but now I'm thinking I might need more bobbins. I don't know. When I first started spinning, I bought, my very first wheel was an Ashford traditional wheel, and I believe it was from the 70s, I think, but I bought it from a lady down in Portland. I had gone over to her house. She had it listed on Craigslist at that time, because Craigslist was one of the biggies at that time, and I believe it was $150, and it came with a couple of bobbins, and I was just super excited to have it. And then a friend of mine happened to have picked up another single treadle traditional used wheel, and it had a ton of bobbins with it. So I think I bought like, I don't know, 6 or more bobbins from her. So I had so many bobbins, and it was fantastic because I would just spin and put the bobbins up on the shelf and spin and keep them on the shelf. So it was nice because I was a true spinning addict when I first started. So anyways, that's what I'm thinking now that I'm spinning again on a smaller wheel like that. I feel like I need to have some more bobbins. But I ordered in 2 more also for the country spinner, and those bobbins are interchangeable with the country spinner and the super jumbo electric, so that'll be good. I also got in my order the spinning wheel maintenance kit, and so I purchased this because, well, you can always use oil, but I've got plenty of that by now. It has the leather, I think it's called a Conrad joint. It has the little springs, it has the dry band in the cotton, and it has extra hooks and such. And this is for a future project, which I need to start soon, but it is a Ashford traditional that I purchased at like a secondhand store, and the guy that sold it to me had it sitting outside in the sun and said that it was just a yard ornament that was in someone's yard. And I was like, really? That's a spinning wheel? And he's like, yeah, it was just in the lady's yard and she just didn't want it anymore. So she used it as a yard ornament. So anyways, it needs some love, and I thought, you know, I'm not gonna do a full-on restoration, but I'm gonna do something with it, and I needed this to get started. So I was filming a Goodwill bins haul video because those are kind of fun, and I know that some of you folks that follow me here like that type of a thing. So it had been a few months since we'd actually done any thrifting at the bins. I mean, I do go to other thrift stores, but the bins is what, you know, I'll accumulate a pretty big haul. So it was kind of fun. So if you're interested in that sort of thing, you can find that other video. Maybe it'll post up here, or it'll be under my list as recent videos. So, well, let's get started and do some spinning. I feel like just sitting here and watching a movie or something. Haven't had a lot of motivation lately, so we'll see if this helps. I find that spinning is just such a great way to relax. It's something about the repetitiveness when you're drafting the wool out, or if it's the pedals that are going, or the fact that the bobbin is spinning around. It's just very, very relaxing. As I mentioned before, when it's time to move those yarn guides along the the bobbin, as the bobbin fills up, it's just really nice and easy to be able to just fold that forward a little bit on this wheel so I can slide that down. And you do that if you're a new spinner, you do that because you want to keep your bobbin filling up kind of equally. Off camera, I went ahead and plied the two bobbins together so I have my 2-ply yarn, and now it's time to take it off of the niddy noddy. This is a 2-yard niddy noddy, so the way it works is as you wind it up, each time you go around, you count them, your rounds, and then you multiply that by 2, and that will tell you how many yards you have for your final yarn. When you're unwinding from the bobbin, it does make it a lot easier to get this off if you loosen the tension on your bobbin. Sometimes it'll get going so fast that it'll wind back on itself, but that's an easy enough fix. Once you get to the end of your yarn, you want to break it free from your leader that goes on the wheel. And then you're going to tie off the ends with a figure-8 tie. This helps keeps your yarn lined up so it doesn't get twisted. And you'll do that with both ends. You'll do it with the end that you just removed from the wheel, and then you'll do it from the other end that you initially tied on when you first started winding. I also like to take and cut a couple extra pieces of string and put a few more of those figure-8 ties on there just to keep my yarn from getting twisted. Adding the additional ties is just a great idea, and just like I said, a great way to keep it from getting twisted after you, especially if you're going to set the twist with this yarn in water instead of steaming it. After I finish tying it off, I slide it off of the niddy noddy, and then I start to twist it from both ends so I can put it in a skein and save it until it's time to do a warm water soak so we can set the twist on it, and then it will air dry and will be all set to go. After I've done this, and while I've got that number of how many yards I have on there, I want to go ahead and weigh it and record the yardage and attach it to the skein. I don't usually like to have to count the yardage twice, so this way I will be able to do that and attach it to the actual skein, and I'll know when I get enough yards to make my cardigan or my sweater. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me this afternoon while we did some spinning and checking on the garden, and I hope that you'll hit that subscribe button and come back and see me on the next video. Bye!